You want to know which upgrades are worth to buy in Direct Strike? In this upgrade tier list, I reveal the best and worst ones. The ranking is based on my own experience, with which I reached 2100 MMR, and you can do this too just by getting the broken stuff. Bloodlust, definitely considered broken. It's by far the best attack buff in the whole game, and you want to get this as much as you can. Also, Lightning Shield, definitely broken. It's just early game tier 1, by far the best AoE damage, is completely destroying everything with low HP, so also giga strong. Healing Ward on tier 3, by far the best healing in the complete game. If you pair this with really good tanks like MGs, then they get nearly invulnerable, and this is what you want to play. Anti-Magic Shell, also really strong because it's the best way to counter on tier 1 the Lightning Shield. Hardened Skin for the MGs is in my opinion also pretty broken, because this makes the MGs basically out counter every tier 1 and tier 2 unit, because they're just getting all the damage split in half, which is extremely valuable. The second best attack buff in the game is Frenzy. It is available on tier 2, which makes it really tempo heavy. On top, the Necros also having this skeletal upgrade, which is on tier 3 very strong, especially if your opponent is missing good AoE Dispel. I think Possession is pretty good, but it depends also a bit on what your opponent plays. So in every game where good possession targets are in, Possession will definitely have a high impact. Another really good buff is the drums. The Poison Spear is definitely also very good, gives the Wyverns way more damage, especially against really tanky units like MGs or tanks. The third and least valuable buff is actually the Inner Fire. It is not nearly as strong as Bloodlust or Frenzy, so I think it's only decent, and also Priests on their own are not the greatest units. That's also why we're rating the Dispel only decent. It is better than nothing if you need some AoE Dispel, but it's nothing which you want to pick ideally. The Grunt upgrade is definitely also very good, gives you on tier 2, if you play a lot of Grunts, a lot of bonus damage. It is basically like an attack upgrade for Grunts, which is really strong. If you want to commit into a lot of Ghouls, then Frenzy is definitely really strong, giving them a lot more attack speed. But it's only good if your opponent is playing absolutely no AoE damage. If you should face a lot of pierce damage early on, the Defend upgrade is actually really strong, if not broken actually. If you want to commit also into a lot of Huntress, then the Huntress upgrades is definitely worth it. But you also need to make a build which makes Huntress being your mid-game carries. The Disease Cloud is quite good, but the downside is that the units which offers you this upgrade are not the greatest, so it is decent in the super late game, but definitely not something for early or mid game. The Anti-Air Tank upgrade is also very good, gives your tanks just the ability to shoot air, which makes them tanks plus anti-air, which is really high utility. If you want also counter benches, especially in the meta, then getting actually the Disenchant from the Walkers is the best counter on tier 2. So Walkers are really good. That's why this upgrade is also shining in the meta pretty high. The Riders are pretty strong. That's why I'm rating Mount actually also really high. Same for the Hippo upgrade also on top here. Plus the Marksmanship on decent. If you want to play more into the Possession build, then Web is also pretty good, but it is more situational. That's why I'm rating this on decent. If you want to just get good 4 damage into the late game, then the Acid Spray is actually very strong. I'm rating it only decent because it's very situational and only good against buildings, but it's really strong to finish off games. And of course, we talked a lot about the Banshees. Also, MGs want to counter them. So I'm also rating the Resistance skin decent because it's only good against Banshees. The Dryad upgrade is also decent. The downside is Dryads are only good against Huntress. Against anything else, you can't play them. The Bears are actually quite bad in the meta because Possession and Banshees getting so much played that the Bears just getting too hard countered. Also, the Griffins upgrades are actually pretty bad because they are just too weak as a unit, so the upgrades make no sense for them. And the rest of the upgrades are actually not worth to talk about, they're just too weak. So focus on these ones and you will have a great time in your games. Subscribe if you want to climb faster in Direct Strike. Thanks guys!